In April 2022, scientists around the globe warned that the world is predicted to run out of food within the next 27 years. Meanwhile, a sociobiologist, Edward Wilson, stated that humans need 2 Earth planets to sustain our current food requirement. The Earth has a limited capacity in supplying food resources to the human population. Even if the whole human population changes their diet to become vegetarians, the agricultural lands on Earth are still not enough to fulfill that need. The argument that supported his statement is when the world population will become too big in comparison to the existing food supply. At the time, the human population would reach nearly 10 billion with food demand, increasing up to 70% in comparison to 2017. The statistics show that humans need to produce more food in the next 40 years than they did since 8,000 years ago. In this video, we will see how the global food crisis may happen. Stay tuned. All beings in this world, especially humans, need food to survive. Food is a basic need for humans, apart from clothing and shelter. To put it simply, food crisis refers to human access to food sources that are insufficient, or food sources that are not able to meet the human needs in an area. This also means a balanced diet does not exist, unsafe food, and the inability to get food due to social and cultural factors of a society. This food crisis issue does not only occur in poor countries, but may also happen to advanced nations. Wars, economical, and health crises have affected the global food crisis in recent years. According to statistics from the World Bank, the average global food market price has increased 75% since 2000, while the world grain storage level is at its all-time low in 30 years. The price of wheat in the global market has shown a 200% increase, while the price of other staple foods such as rice and soybean is also at the highest level. The increase in market price of grains has also directly forced the market price of other food to increase, such as meat, chicken, eggs, and dairy-based products. Previously, economists all around the world have warned that the world has to be prepared for an outrageous increase in food prices. The most recent update is the Indian government has announced the ban on wheat export, which is said to be caused by the global warming phenomenon, which has worsened the ongoing food crisis globally. India is the second largest wheat-producing country in the world, and they have announced the ban on wheat export, which was implemented immediately after the extreme temperatures caused by global warming affected its production. The decision made by the Indian government has caused worry, as the global price of wheat will skyrocket exponentially due to shortage of supply, affecting countries especially those in the Asian and African regions. This is because global buyers depend on the wheat supply from India after the export. And the Black Sea region is affected due to the ongoing Russia and Ukraine war. Sudden demand for food. One of the main factors of the food crisis which has been happening recently is the demand towards food supply has increased, especially wheat, rice, and corn. This situation occurs due to the increase of the world population, year by year, which calls for more food supply to survive. It is estimated that the world population would reach 10 billion by the year 2050. This projected increase is expected to push for a sudden need for food, which cannot be accommodated by the current level of global food production due to the lack of existing resources, such as lands, farms, and others. As an example, in India and China, the surge in population of the middle class was 9.7% and 8.6% respectively for the year 1990. But these figures have increased to 30% and 70% in 2008. This increase in population does not only cause high demand for agricultural resources, it will also change lifestyles and eating habits, particularly in the demand for more variety and more meat in the diet. Wars. War is one of the main factors of the global food crisis. These days, we can definitely see the impacts of the war between Russia and Ukraine, which have contributed to the greatest global food crisis in this age. The loss of commodities due to the war between both countries have caused the price of food to increase at an alarming rate, and the uncertainty about the future of food security throughout the world, especially in poor countries. Fuel and fertilizer shortages and rapidly rising food prices are destabilizing people, increasing hunger, malnutrition, driving migration and causing severe economic instability. Recently, the United Nations (UN) also stated that the war will cause disruptions in production and exports that will undoubtedly affect global food security. According to the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, the war has exacerbated food insufficiency in poor countries due to rising prices, and the world could also face famine that could last for years if Ukraine's exports are not returned to pre-war levels. The conflict has cut off supplies from Ukrainian ports, which previously exported a substantial amount of sunflower oil, along with grains such as corn and wheat, while Russia and Belarus account for more than 40% of the global crop nutrients. This means that farmers will face insufficient resources, ultimately leading to lesser food production. The global food price rose nearly 30% higher than the same time last year. According to a report by The Guardian, nearly 40 countries depend on Russia and Ukraine for half of their wheat imports, such as Syria, Yemen, and Somalia, which are among the most vulnerable countries in the world. In conclusion, the food shortage crisis, which was initially limited to a few nations and only synonymous with third world countries, is now becoming more chronic. As the market price at the world level also spikes up and begins to pose a more global threat, including to developed countries. The crisis that has been felt since a few years ago became more severe when the conflict broke out between the world's two largest supply producers, which are Russia and Ukraine. Thank you for watching.